What's up, comrades? Nightwolf here, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a brand new video. Now, a while back, I think it was sometime last summer, I told you guys that I was going to start a Gunpla vlog video series on the channel where I share my love for Gunpla and a bunch of other assorted things. We're gonna maybe show off the kits that we buy, share a bit of the build, and things of that nature. I'm not going to be doing anything like deep tutorial guides or anything of that nature because, let's be honest, there are so many on YouTube that you could find a bunch of really great people who are able to do that. So there's really no need for me to do that. I don't see a point in that. But I will probably show a bit of tips, what my process of going through my kits and repairing or building, anything of that nature, what kind of tools people need, that kind of stuff. But it'll be casual. This is a laid-back series. This gives me an opportunity to chill and talk to you guys and just have a good time. So, for starters, for some of you who are not aware of what Gunpla is, some of you may be asking, what is a Gunpla? Well, I'm going to show you. Or, well, I mean, some of you may ask, is this a Gunpla? Is this a Gunpla? No. None of that is Gunpla. I'm just kind of doing a bit here. Sorry about that. But basically, what a Gunpla is this. This, my friends, is a Gunpla. Now, some of you may have seen the previous videos, so you probably kind of have a general consensus and idea of what this thing is. But the way that it is described is this is a Gundam plastic model kit. Basically, it is just short for Gundam plastic model kit. That's what it is. It's Japanese slang for Gundam plastic model kit. That's how I view it and how I would describe it. But that's what this thing is. And leave it to me to drop this thing. But yes, this is what it is. It is a Gundam. And for those of you who probably don't remember, yes, Gundam is a series of shows that are highly popular. Let's just kind of get this guy in a cooler pose and stance. There we go. That's good. But yeah, that's what this is. This is a plastic model kit that you build, and there's plenty of other things that you'll have to know in order to build something like this. Well, the builds itself are pretty simple and straightforward. They're just a plastic model kit. You just build it. Simple, easy, and basic. They're snap together kits. They do not require glue at all. Like this guy right here, he is a straight build, as many would call it. He was taken out of the packaging, out of the box, built, and then a little bit of minor work done. I did some panel lining, but aside from that, he's straight out of the box. This is what you get. You get a depiction of one of the giant robots from the series itself, and there are other types of kits that fit the same mold too, like the Kabuto kit that you guys saw me do a live stream build of. The Figurized series is relatively similar to this, except for that they use other series and whatnot to make model kits. But this guy, I am using the granddaddy of all Gundams as a kind of a placeholder of the basic of what it is. Obviously, not all the kits are the same, but this guy is the revived version of the RX-78 Gundam. It's a great kit, very good for beginners. One thing that I would say about these kits, these are highly posable. They're not toys, they're not action figures, so they do have a tendency to lose parts or parts fall off, so you do have to be careful, but as display pieces, they are highly posable. Some of them are really great, like this one. You could pose him in almost any way you want, and he can pretty much hold together perfectly fine. A lot of the joints and everything are really solid, as you can see. He doesn't really wobble or anything. Older kits are a bit different. They don't really have the same level of articulation that this guy does, or the ability to, you know, stand on their own feet and whatnot. There are some kits that are bad, but overall, that's what you get out of a box. You get this guy. He's pretty simple, pretty basic, fun to have. You could display them, you can goof around with them. Modifying them is a big hobby in and of itself. A lot of people like to take these kits, modify them, build them differently, or add parts to them. It becomes an art form. Much like anything else in a hobby, it can become an art form. And that's what a Gunpla can do. A Gunpla can be just as artistically engaging and artistically... I'm trying to find the appropriate word here. I apologize if I'm butchering the English language. Artistic satisfaction was, I think, what I was trying to get to. But yeah, you could get some artistic satisfaction from stuff like this. You could repaint the kits. You could modify them with new parts and whatnot. Change their entire profile and how they look and how they would function. There's a lot of really great stuff. And that's what these kits are great for. These kits are great for modifying, for changing, for replacing. Because a lot of the parts that come in a lot of the boxes and whatnot are relatively interchangeable. You could do whatever you want with it. You could take somebody like this. You could take this Gundam right here and take several portions of it, several of its parts, and then try to make something different out of it. You could take the armor and pieces from other kits and mash them together to create something else. Or you could just heavily modify the kit that you already get, which is this guy right here. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of detail here. We're going to put this guy back here for now. We'll put Granddaddy Gundam right back there. He can hang out and chill. Now, there are several different types of kits, and one thing that I have heard every once in a while on YouTube and on other platforms is that it's an expensive hobby. And here's the thing. Any hobby that you have can become expensive depending on how much you spend. Okay? So that's how I always view hobbies, is that any hobby can be expensive. The trick is to, if you're on a budget, to pick and choose what you buy. And also to look for deals and other assorted stuff like that. And the great thing about Gundam model kits is they come in various different sizes and scales. So you can get all sorts of scales and sizes of kits that, one, maybe you don't have a lot of space and you need to have something small like this guy, like this original Gundam here. Maybe you need something a little bit smaller, or maybe you would like a bigger kit because you have the space to fit it. Now, I don't have any of this type of kit on me, and that would be the SD Gundam. I'm going to throw an image up here. It'll be of whatever SD Gundam that I find cute and adorable, but there are model kits of that particular variety you can purchase. They're really simple builds. They're really not that complicated. Some people might think, is it hard to build a Gundam model kit? No, not really. They're pretty self-explanatory. The instructions are easy to follow. Even though a lot of the older kits are in Japanese, you can still follow the instructions. You just have to be careful and pay attention to what you're doing. You can watch my Kabuto live stream if you need any more explanation of what can happen if you screw up. But the SD kits. SD kits are very simple to build. They're very small. They're very cute. Which is why somebody would say, hey, why don't you have one? I'm going to be buying some at some point, but just not now. They're simple builds and really good for beginners. Then there's a lot of other smaller kits that you can buy that are also really easy to build. And then if you would like something that looks more like this gentleman here, that looks more accurate to the show and have accurate proportions and things of that nature, we have this. I'm going to have to left the camera. Sorry about that. We have this kit. This is a GM Sniper K9. And as you can see on the corner of the box, it says HG, which stands for high grade kit. I might be far away from the camera when I did that. Sorry, but this is a high grade kit. These are the most common kits you can buy. They're not very big. As you can see, this guy's box is a little larger than some, but the kits are not large. They end up being about roughly his size, depending on the model itself. Some of them are larger, and some are smaller, depending. But this is what you would, this is the type of box you would want to look for. If you're looking to start out, these are normally the best thing you can do as a starting point. The SDs are also pretty good for a starting point, but this is the one that I would recommend if you actually kind of want at least a bit of challenge, but also to have a really cool kind of figure or model kit. So you have something like this. And like I mentioned earlier, sometimes some of these kits are not that expensive. Because if you look down here, you can see this right here. This is the price on a box. As you can see, a lot of this is in Japanese, so you can't really read it. But this 1800 here, that, it means 1800 yen. And roughly in US terms, that would roughly be the equivalent of $18. So this kit is only 18 bucks, roughly. I bought it while during a sale when I was out and about. There's a lot of other options out there. There are some of these kits that are actually a lot cheaper than this one. Like the RX-78 right over here, the Revive. He's about 10 bucks. Pretty cheap and affordable. And like I said, if you're careful and you're paying attention to how much you're spending, you can buy a lot of these. I have a ton of high-grade kits that are within at least $20 or more. Some of them might be a bit more expensive because I had to pay more because they were an older kit. But overall, they're relatively cheap, and you can buy a lot of them. And these ones are really easy to build. I would consider these highly customizable because a lot of them are so easy to interchange parts with. There's not a whole lot of complicated work going on like in a master grade line. But you can modify any of the kits technically. But I think that high grades, especially for beginners and for people who do like to modify, this is where you would want to be. But yeah, that's a high grade kit. We're going to put him over there for now. There are a few other kits that you can keep your eyes open for that I think are worth mentioning. There are these kits, and they are 1/100 scale kits. There's a lot of kits that are older that are not high grade or master grade of any kind, and we'll get to master grade in a second. This Gundam Dynamis is a non-grade 1/100 scale kit, which these 1/100 00 kits are not bad, but overall there's a lot of those non-grade type kits. Plenty of them out there. Just for the sake of checking, how much did one of these cost? Sorry. This one costed 2,300 yen. So this one costed about, I'd say roughly $23. Not a bad price, but also not a great price. It's getting up there in price, and some high-grade kits can cost about that much too. You just have to keep in mind that kits of varying sizes and whatnot do exist. And you have to keep in mind that some are more expensive than others. And you just gotta, keep all that type of stuff in mind, when you're buying. Some of you may ask, like, where can I buy these types of kits and whatnot? Pretty much you can buy them in almost any major online retail. If you go to Amazon or eBay, you're going to find kits. A lot of them new and in the package. They've never been touched. They've never been opened. You could go to Amazon and buy them. You just type in Gundam model kits and stuff will pop up. There are some other options too. And maybe someday we'll do a video talking about which sites are the best ones to shop at and things of that nature. I need to kind of, I guess you could say, experiment a bit and kind of look into different sites and which ones are the most affordable to go to. Some places, there are brick and mortar shops that you could probably buy some kits at. This, the GM Sniper K9 and the Master Grade I'm going to show in just a second, they came from a Hobbytown USA store. There was a sale because there was a party going on, and I managed to snag both kits for, I think, under $60. Not too bad, considering one is a Master Grade and one is a High Grade. And I pulled the trigger on this one because I found it, and this was one of my favorite kits, or one of my favorite suits from Build Fighters, so I really wanted it. If I'm being honest, yeah, Hobbytown USA, they will normally have an assortment of Gundam model kits that you can purchase. But that's the only, like, brick and there could be, like, other hobby stores or maybe some other local hobby-type shops. You could probably go there and they might have some too. Just keep your eyes peeled. You know, look around, make sure they have what you're looking for. And if they don't, your online is probably your best bet. You do have to wait for shipping, but that is your best option. And now, I'm going to get into probably my biggest kit right now. Currently. Hold on a second. This thing, right here, which you guys probably cannot see because it is so goddamn massive. Hold on a second. And right here, as you can see, this is a very large box. I can't even put it in frame because of how large and massive it is. We're just going to put it on this level. This right here, my friends, is a Master Grade kit. Master Grade kits are a lot fewer in number than High Grades. We'll be completely fair there. There's not as many of them. But they are much, much larger. The High Grade kits are a 1/144 scale kit. These are 1/100 scale. And there's also one other size that we could get into that is called Perfect Grade. That is a 1/60 scale kit. Those are massively huge and they normally cost a couple $100. So you probably, if you're a beginner, you don't want to touch those. I don't even have any. This is the biggest kit that I've ever bought and I still don't have it built. This thing is huge. I'm afraid to even move it around. But there's so much glare. Yeah, as you can see, here's the Master Grade logo. The greatest thing about these kits is that they have greater articulation. They have a bunch more detail, mechanical details. They can move around better. They normally will come with pretty much the same accessories you would get in the High Grade kit. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's added features. But overall, it's roughly the same. But similarly to the other kits, hold on a second, let me try and find his price tag. It's got to be around here somewhere. The price is exceedingly high. I'm going to try and get it in frame for you guys. There we go. Can we focus a bit? As you can see, it says 4,800 yen. So this kit, in particular, oh, that's upside down, is going to run you about $48, give or take, maybe close to $50. Like I said, I bought this on sale. I think I bought it for like maybe $35, I think, or something to that nature. I got a relatively decent deal on it. And this is not the most expensive that a High Grade can get. There's also, I forgot to mention, there is the new RE100 line that has also been 1/100 scale kits. Those are also, I don't think, they're in the middle. They're in the middle ground between the prices of pricey High Grade kits and Master Grade. They're in the middle. I've never really bought any of them currently. But yeah, that is a big box. There's a big kit in here just waiting to be opened and built. It's huge. I know, that's what she said. I'm going to take this out of frame because, dear Lord, and I'll be right back with you guys in just a second. And there we go. That's kind of my brief mild introduction into Gunpla for you guys. What it is, what you can do with it, kind of, ish. I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm just random thoughts about Gunpla. That's probably what most of these videos will be. There'll be videos talking about my enjoyment of the hobby, where I think some of the hobby might be taken. Who knows? Ah, God. Oh, God. See, stuff like this might happen, too. Yeah, you see? See, things like this happen. You gotta be careful. But it's also relatively easy to repair. Voila. He is repaired. Sort of. Ish. He should be fine. He's fine. Gundam is fine. But overall, that's kind of just my rambly beginning guide to what Gunpla is for you guys and what you can do with it. I personally enjoy the hobby. I hope to maybe introduce new people to it, because I think it's a fun hobby. But of course, if you guys aren't really interested in it, that's totally cool. That's fine as well. I think that one of the biggest advantages or the reason why someone would get into this hobby is because you like the Gundam franchise itself, or whatever franchise the figurized kits come from. That would probably be your biggest reason why you would want to try out the hobby. You probably wouldn't want to do it if you weren't interested in the series that are involved. But I think that this is a good hobby to have, especially if you like to work with your hands, if you like to build things. It's more complicated than building a Lego kit. It's a little harder than that, but I still think that it's an enjoyable hobby. And pretty much with that being said and out of the way, I think I've rambled long enough for this starting video in the series. I apologize for that, but this was, like I said, very casual, very laid back. Not a whole lot of thought is being put into this. I'm just randomly spitballing and talking about all this cool stuff. So I hope you enjoyed the video, regardless of my rambling. And please, as always, do not forget to, leave me a like. You can shoot me a comment. You can subscribe if you're new. My brain died there for a second. I apologize profusely. And of course, share this video around. I greatly appreciate it. And of course, as always, do not forget to raise your nerd flags high, and I will see you next time. Nightwolf is out.